You can just watch this video blindlessly and it will not help you at all, or you can take action on it. I want you to take your own fucking notes on the video, as this is coming from like 5 6 years of knowledge about it, which I've tried to distill in this advice that I've given you. For most people, the main problem that they face in life is that they do not know how to fix their fucking problems. The reason that you have problems is because you're not fixing them, but instead going on shit like Netflix, YouTube, or anything else to basically numb your fucking problems, numb the stress, and rather than facing the problem, which will actually get rid of the stress and whatnot, you just try to run away from it, right? And the thing is that this is a problem of ideas. You do not know how to fix it, and hence this is why you run away, because you have, in all the ways that you know, have tried to fix it in all the methods and have seen yourself failing. So you've given up. But this again is a problem of ideas. And the reason that you do not have any ideas is because you're not reading or exposing yourself to any good ones. The best way a person can get ideas is via books. Can books be propagandized? Yes. Can books be extremely biased or give you false information? Yes. But even in those cases, a book will still be very, very well argued compared to something like a podcast interview or a 10-minute YouTube video, because it can cover so much, so many things, and way, way more in depth to the point that you actually know what's happening. Look at anything like a podcast, a tweet, or anything else. A YouTube video will take something like 10 hours to make if it's actually good. A tweet will take something like 30 minutes at max to plan it out, to make sure that it sounds really nice, it sounds really aesthetic and whatnot. And even at that, you can just do it in 5 seconds by asking ChatGPT. And something like a book, not even taking into account how much time it takes to research everything, to have all of the background for it. For example, the amount of decades that David Goggins spent making sure he was actually stealing his mind so he could write It Can't Hurt. Even taking that in account, you need to understand that so much goes into writing a book, because first you got to outline it, first you got to see what ideas you need to have, second is you need to understand what kind of themes you're exploring, or you need to interview people, or you need to do this or that depending on the genre, blah blah blah. And there's so much investment, not just in terms of time but also emotionally, physically, etc., which goes into a book compared to a podcast or anything else, that you are missing out by not reading them. It will solve much of your life shit way more than you actually think. It will make you more intellectually wise and emotionally wise, because guess what? Look at the data, look at the media you consume, right? Look at the YouTube videos, look at anything else, and you will see that they are using the language of practically sixth graders and not far above that, because that's what the literacy level of most people is right now. If you want to actually make progress, then you need to change that up. You need to get high quality information inside of you. And one big part of that is words. The words that you use is limited by the fact that you are using sixth grade, elementary level words. If you don't even know what kind of thing you're experiencing right now, or what you're doing is stupid and it's hurting you, by not even looking at it, how can you figure it out? How can you describe it? How can you name it? Do you know how people believed demons and whatnot, bad spirits and everything else was to be exorcised? It was to name it. It was to find its true name, what it actually was, and actually get rid of it. What people think is pragmatism or fun or anything else, the way that they justify it is in reality fear, because they're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to actually confront their belief of, if I maybe do this, if I make this level of investment into something, there's a chance that I would lose it. There's a chance that I would have some sort of loss, that I would fail. And people cannot accept that. So instead, they rationalize their choice. They rationalize their conformity, their stagnancy, by saying, this doesn't just make sense for me. Oh, I have this genetic problem with me. I have this, I have that. And the same you're doing with books. The best advantage you will get out of books is that you will be less of a fucking loser. And if that isn't worth it, then I don't know why you're even watching this video. The biggest thing that you need to focus here is you need to focus on retention over quantity. You need to focus on the understanding and remembering what you read rather than rushing through the books, right? And the main reason for that is, if you just rush through the books, you will get a larger amount of books and ideas inside of your head, but you will not truly understand them, and all of them will be half assed. This isn't a dick measuring contest where bigger is better. You need to actually have quality of ideas, because that is the biggest constraint that people have, especially at the beginner level where you are at. Now, what you need to do is identify your problems. Like, let's say you were really, really fat, or you were not getting any girls and whatnot, and you just read a few books on it. And trust me, those will always be way better than the videos, because the videos are just trying to get clients or whatever else, right? So, when you start doing that, when you start reading books about what actually makes a person tick, what will actually make a relationship fulfilling for me, what problems do I have that prevent me from actually getting into relationships, blah, 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 then you will have better outcomes. Simple as that. Another thing is people look at enjoyment or productivity, right? Like they're two opposite things. But I will say that enjoyment is a brainwashing. Enjoyment is basically saying I will continue to ruin my body, I will worsen my health, I will give myself brain fog for like 3 days by doing something like staying up all night or drinking alcohol or anything else, and it will worsen my life. It will temporarily take away my pain, which the pain I can use as a motivation to actually improve my life. But no, I will not use it as that. I will just continue to put it inside of a closet, and I will try to forget about it, but it will never fucking work. It's a coward's method of doing shit, and I don't think that you will enjoy it. You can read fiction or something like a real life murder case or whatever else, but those should be like 20% of your book consumption. They shouldn't be the main thing. The main thing should be something which actually improves your life. Let's say it improves your business, it improves your personal problems, it improves anything like that. And that is the main thing that you should be reading, because it won't just make your life better, it will also make you wiser. It will also make you way fun at conversations. It will also make you a way more fuller person compared to someone surface level who just listens to Taylor Swift or Kendrick or some shit. Now, how do you choose what to read? First is go after your problems. Any problem that you have, let's say something like you being fat or whatever else, you figure that out and you actually go into that. You see, okay, I'm fat. There's this guy on a podcast, or there's this guy, this doctor guy on a YouTube video or whatever else, and he has written a book. Let me just search something about him and see if what he said actually makes sense. If any of the advice that he's given to any other people or his coaching clients and whatnot has actually worked for them. So I will look into that. And if I see that it has actually worked, then of course I will go into that. Now we know what kind of books we want to read, right? You figure out some names, some researchers, blah blah blah. And now you want to know what to actually read, where to find it. The best way to get a book and support the author and whatnot is by going on kobo.com or amazon.com and buying the book from there, right? But if you want to buy it, which I say you definitely shouldn't do, then you definitely should not go to duckduckgo.com and search up how to get that book for free PDF, blah blah blah. Something like that is something that you should not do. Okay. Now you have figured out what kind of books you want to read and where to get them. The third thing is how do you read them? So there's about three options. The first is paper. You can buy a paper book and it will not cost that much, especially for some of the bigger books like Atomic Habits or Meditations by Marcus Aurelius and whatnot. Second thing is you could get a Kindle, or alternatively you could use your phone as an e-reader, and those two will work. Third thing is you can do Audible or anything else to get audiobooks, right? I won't show you the path. You can figure it out yourself. You're smart enough for that. There's this thing called One Live. Figure it out yourself. Fucking dumbass. So you know where to find them, blah blah blah. Coming to the reading of the book itself, one of the things that I'll say is avoid sunk cost fallacy. If you read a book and it's shit, not because of your fucking brain rot, pee pee poo poo brain, which you've basically given brain damage because of all the reels that you've been watching, but no, it's actually shit, it's not giving any good advice or whatever, then apply sunk cost fallacy. I don't think you will be applying it that much, because at this level, at the level you're at, any and every book that you will be reading will be helpful to you. But the sunk cost fallacy is basically you pay for a movie and you let's say go watch it, right? And you think, okay, I've already invested 1 hour into this movie, and I've already invested this amount of money or anything else into this movie, I may as well finish it. But that is stupid. This is again going into the dick measuring thing. You want to get high quality ideas, not anything else inside of your mind right now. If you wanted to get low quality ideas, or just say something like, oh, I did 1000 repetitions of this or some crap, then go back to fucking TikTok or YouTube Reels or in anything else like that, fucking dumbass. This also goes back to social pressure. Don't feel like you're obligated to finish a book or even like it just because a bunch of people like it. I personally didn't like Atomic Habits. I don't like Seneca's stoicism crap, but I still do like Marcus Aurelius's. This is just one example. You don't need to like ideas, right? You don't need to like the author, and at the same time, you don't need to even like the book. You can have all of these things compartmentalized. Just because I don't like one book written by one guy doesn't mean that I don't like the guy in general. For example, Simon Sinek writes pretty good books, but I don't like his Start with Why book. Another thing is Park Manson. I don't like How to Give a Fuck or some crap, but his book on models and dating and whatnot was very, very high quality. That there's two kinds of books. The first is active reading, which is you're taking notes, you're highlighting, and you're actually thinking about the book. Maybe you've got a journal with you and you're seeing, okay, if this is what the book is saying, is this actually true? Does this actually apply to me? Has this ever happened with me before? Blah blah blah. And you doing that will make you actually remember the ideas because you're actually interacting with them, you're dancing with them. Another thing is passive reading. Passive reading is basically you reading a book and it coming in from one ear and going out from the other. This works well for something like fiction where they're actually trying to keep your attention, but for anything else, this is fucking stupid. Do not do this. This should be again about 20% of your reading, not fucking the entirety of it. Second thing is figuring out when is the best time to read. So, for example, mornings or after waking up, or perhaps in your evenings and whatnot, you need to figure out the best time for yourself. And that means you actually got to experiment. You actually got to put some fucking amount of effort in. If you can't even do that, then why the fuck are you even here in this video? Do you still want to be a loser? Go back to fucking Instagram Reels or whatever. Fucking apologies. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thing I'll say is that you should be consistent, like maybe set a target or whatever of 10 pages a day or one chapter a day or whatever, and just try to be consistent with that because that will actually make you like reading. And second is be realistic with it. You just went from going into YouTube shorts and reels and whatnot. If you're actually serious and actually following the advice of this video, you will have actually just gone from YouTube reels or YouTube and mindless consumption from something which is actually beautiful, something which the person who made it put a lot of effort in, maybe thousands and thousands of hours. So you need to be in account of that because that will actually make a difference, right? These things can actively change your life, so you need to take that in account and hence give them the amount of what's the word hence give them the amount of and hence give them the amount of reception that they deserve. Now, here's some book recommendations. The first I'll say is How to Win Friends and Influence People, Atomic Habits, David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. And a fourth one I'll say is Marcus Aurelius' Meditations or any of the books by Ryan Holiday. Just see which one you actually like and see which one works for you. I'll say take notes. It's just your preference whether you like a journal or you like to type it down on keyboard or anything else. This is a personal preference. Figure it out for yourself. And for active books, just actively try to dance with them, right? Actively try to dance with these active books. It doesn't matter if you dislike the author, it doesn't matter if you dislike this or that or the words that they use, just fucking interact with it, right? Mm, yep. Use a tracking method like Goodreads and whatnot because that will be useful and it will give you some insight into what kind of books that you should read as well as help you make some potential friends who have the same sort of interests. So if you get friends and whatnot, you can discuss the books with them. That will be pretty cool. But if you don't have any friends which you can discuss with, haha, loser. Then what you should do is go to ChatGPT and tell it to be, you are my intellectual partner, you are super smart, you should disagree with me and you should help me find out whether I actually like this book or dislike this book. Give it some sort of prompt like that and then just still have a discussion with ChatGPT about the book. My personal system for a long, long time used to be one fiction book, one history book, one philosophy or psychology book, because I put them both in the same place, as well as one self-improvement mindset book, one self-improvement book or a skill improvement book, and another skill improvement book. Now, this is way too much for me right now because I actually have shit to do. But if you're in school or some crap, this can easily be done and you can still get good marks and whatnot. And I'd argue that if we do a system like this, maybe do start with one or two books at max, then you will make better progress in, let's say, subject like English, where you will have to have some level of imagination. You will have to have some level of descriptive ability or narrative ability. And I think when you actually start reading and analyzing these books, you will get better at that. So again, active reading, not passive reading. Second thing is something like history and whatnot. You will have a lot of context for what is happening around the world. For example, one way I think about the current Israeli conflict or war, whatever you want to say, people are very particular about these kinds of words because they're trying to manipulate what the narrative is, but I don't give a fuck. So one thing is that with history, you will see that this isn't the first time that the Gaza belt has been fought over. This isn't the first time that Israel has fought over it. And the first few conflicts that actually happened over it were not because of some religious reason, but instead because they wanted the resources there. It's practically a fucking desert in the Middle East. So if you have a very lush, a very fertile area with a lot of water and whatnot, of course you would want that, right? So that's one thing. So that's one thing I found by reading a book about water, our relationship with it, how it impacts us, blah blah blah. And it that book also told me that the way beer got so important in our culture is because it had a lot of benefits previously in society. For example, it was the only way that you could get protein in, and that was big via yeast, and that was also done by bread. So society wouldn't have fucking existed if not for yeast and us trying to domesticate it and us making beer and whatnot. Can you just imagine that? Now, of course, beer has lost its function, it has lost its reason, and people just drink it because why the fuck not? But that's still fascinating. The fact that even something as useless as beer, something that has worsened our society, at least we continue to see it like that, is something that was useful a long time ago. Well, that's my recommendation. You can just watch this video blindlessly and it will not help you at all, or you can take action on it. I want you to take your own fucking notes on the video, as this is coming from like 5, 6 years of knowledge about it, which I've tried to distill in this advice that I've given you. And yeah, that's all. Cheers.